So next we give this pole object also an activation, and we use here for this the interactable events, and we'll go much more in detail later on these. But here are the on activate and on deactivate, and we will use these events. But first we need to somehow something to control, and we call this, for example, color change. New script. So edit script. Let's add here kind of two public variables for color. Inactive color. And we also have active color. And actually we don't need any of those, so we can just delete it. And we make here now a function which needs to be public, is activate, and one which is called, and also sorry, of course the order is wrong, needs to first be public and then the return value void deactivate. So we take the get component, mesh renderer, and we take the material and color, and we set this to active color. We just copy this whole one. And for the deactivate, we take the inactive color. So now we can actually set here two events. We should also set here the color. Let's take inactive is what is an inactive color? Let's do it some quite bright one, and here we can do for the active or dark green. So we created here two events by pressing these buttons. We can drag in here the script into both, and then we can choose which function to actually call. So when it activates, we go into color change, and we should see here our new function here, activate and color change, deactivate. And now the activation actually happens, and this is defined here in the controller, Exa controller. You have here for the controller node the different buttons. So we had already the grip button, which is the select, and for activate we have the trigger button. So that's your index finger, and also for the UI press it's the trigger, and you can change this here into different buttons. So but let's jump into VR. So I'll grab this pole here, and when I press the trigger button, nothing happens. That's too bad. No, okay. The error message says that there is no mesh render attached. That makes totally sense. So actually it is not the pole, but well, let's give this a reference to the game object. We just call this object and then call this get component on this object. Maybe I'm wrong here. A game object doesn't have a get component, but it's the transform. Is this correct? Okay, no, maybe maybe just the name is bad. Is it just the name? Okay, this seems to be better. Let's jump back into Unity. So let's take the cylinder. It should be changed. Okay. So can you see? So that's the inactive state, and if I press now the trigger button, then it changes into green. If I let the trigger button go. So that's kind of activation, and you can so interact with an object you're holding in your hand. If I'm not holding it in my hand, I press the trigger button, nothing happens.